Hello, I'm the Maniac, and I'm here to tell you— OW! Fuck! Can't see anything. Ah! Stop my bloody toe as well. Where's the light switch? I have no idea how this happened. So, yeah, different kind of video today. Different meaning it's not FNAF related. Why is that? Well, quite simply, it's because I feel I have more to offer the internet than making videos about demented furries singing the Houston songs. I don't want to become known for that one thing. I want to, like, branch out my content. So in recognition of that, I go review Thomas and the Magic Railroad, a 20-year-old kids movie about talking trains that everyone forgot existed. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. I ain't forcing you to watch this. So if for some reason you don't know who Thomas the Tank Engine is, you uncultured swine, it's an adaptation of a book series known simply as the Railway series, a collection of short stories written by Lord High Creator God Reverend Wilbert Audrey, centered around a group of sentient trains on the fictional island of Sodor. He initially came up with these stories in 1943 to entertain his son Christopher while he was sick with measles. He officially published the first story in 1945 and carried on writing until 1972, after which Chris took the helm. In 1984, TV producer Britt Allcroft created an adaptation of the series entitled Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. I watched this show fanatically as a kid, from 2 years old to 17. Point is, it had an impact on me. I was obsessed with this show, that is no understatement, and I still love it to this day, despite some questionable alterations. And I think other old fans still love it too, particularly the early seasons. It's great kids TV, it's entertaining, it's unique in its use of authentic train models and stop motion, and it has some pretty good morals too. Except when they don't. Outright rejection of anything new, like diesel engines or alternative methods of travel, bullying people with depression, kamikaze rolling stock, Trevor. I like children. The show could also be quite unintentionally dark at some points. At least I hope it's unintentional. For example, the characters all have to do as they're told for fear of execution by scrapping or burying them alive in tunnels or sheds when they didn't even do anything that wrong in the first place. Oh, you accidentally get stuck underneath a bridge, get repurposed as a hen house. Get too old and no one wants to buy you, buried alive. Come off the rails a few times, generator. Stay in a tunnel because you don't want to get wet. Well, bad news, Sonny. You gotta get bricked up and cut off from the rest of the world while you watch all your friends get to be free and enjoy life, but you will be forgotten, and you will be left to go dust and rust until the end of your day. So, in short, this is basically slavery. These trains are living, and sentient beings, yet they're forced to work all day, they don't get paid, they're exchanged across employers from railways like they're a commodity, and as previously mentioned, will receive unfair and brutal punishments if they dare wrong the ruthless authoritarian known as Sir Topham Hatt. Yeah, pretty fucking dark. But ignoring that, early in my youth I remember adoring one specific piece of media from this universe. The first feature-length movie produced for Thomas the Tank Engine, Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Yeah, it seemed I loved it, and no one else. After the show's 5th season in 1998, plans were made for a Thomas the Tank Engine movie, with Allcroft writing, producing, and directing. Paramount Pictures were initially steering the project, but then they came to their senses and dropped it. It was then funded by Destination Films, given a budget of $19 million, and including the likes of Peter Fonda and Alec Baldwin. Wait, who? Did I get that right? Hang on. No, yeah, that's right. Well, I guess if they could get Ringo to narrate, they could get anybody. The story will include the universes of Thomas the Tank Engine, as well as Shining Time Station, another show created by Allcroft, available only in the US. After some arguably shoddy test screenings, the movie underwent loads of alterations, including changes in the plot, swapping out some voice actors.
Little engines can do big things. Little engines can do big things.
Even cutting characters from the movie altogether. When the movie was finally released in 2000, well, people weren't fond of it. It received overly negative reviews, it didn't rake in a profit, and Allcroft resigned from her own damn company. Hits Entertainment eventually bought the company 2 years later, ran the show for a few years until it in turn was bought by Mattel in 2011, and well, we all know how that went. It was this movie that changed everything for Thomas the Tank Engine. So the question remains, is it as good as I remember it? Is everyone else wrong? Well, ultimately that's down to opinion, but I'm gonna shit on it anyway, for views! So we're off to a pretty decent start. We start off with our main hero, Thomas himself, we see some memorable locations from the show, and we get a smooth, easygoing redo of the original theme music.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And here we meet Gordon, everybody's favourite engine. Oh, come on, if you were a fan of this pompous dickhead back in the day, you would have earned my undying ire.
What does that sign say?
Sodor Railway. Really reliable and right on time.
But you weren't on time, little Thomas.
Sorry, Gordon, did you miss this part here, you blind bastard? So, yeah, the story is the fat Gura has fucked off on holiday with his wife, and in lieu of a fair eruption, he sent a signal across the multiverse to have his boots filled by Mr. Conductor, who is portrayed by Alec Baldwin. Still don't know how they got him to do this. What did Brent have on you, Alec? Wait a second. Who's Mr. Conductor? Yeah, if you didn't watch Shining Time Station, you wouldn't have like a bloody clue as to a huge chunk of this movie. If this was your first Thomas film, then yeah, you'd be learning this for the first time along with some hardcore fans as well. Luckily, I've done my homework. Mr. Conductor is a tiny little man who lives in a wall. Don't click off, bear with me. At one point in each Shining Time episode, he shows up to tell stories from Sodor, with every story just so happening to be an episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. He's been portrayed previously by Ringo Starr and George Carlin, who were both narrators on Thomas, so each Thomas the Tank Engine episode is being told by Mr. Conductor. Even though the show existed like 5 years before Shining Time ever did. So Mr. Conductor, quite simply, is the link between the two shows. So there's your answer, I guess. But there's one small itty bitty teensy problem with this. The UK audience didn't know this. We never got glittering our terminal. How are we supposed to know this stuff? If you're a US fan, great, good for you, enjoy the movie. If you're a UK fan or from literally anywhere else, haha, up yours.
Get out of my way!
So here we meet the movie's antagonist, Diesel 10, winner of the Uncreative Villain Name of the Year award. He runs past our heroes, covers them in shit, and leaves a pencil in the bushes like the scoundrel he is.
The Diesel 10's back! Oh.
Wait, back? As in, we've met him before this movie? No, we haven't?
The blast from the past, who hates steam engines.
What blast? What past? We never met this guy before. I mean, if the movie wanted us to have a character from the show's past as our villain, we've got like the original Diesel or Ariel, but hell, even the fucking Steamroller. Or if they wanted to use 10 so badly, why not say he was sent by the Fat Controller to help around while he was away? Oh wait, that's what the original script did. Anyway, now we're introduced to Shining Time. I'm not sure why Brit felt the need to have these two universes crossover, and it probably confuses younger viewers, but I didn't necessarily question it as a kid. I was very easy to please as a wee bit. You just shove something in front of me and I would enjoy it, especially if it was Thomas.
And by the way, I think that you're going to help me and Thomas somewhere in this story.
Well, what if I don't want to help? What if I leave you guys to your own devices? What do you expect me to do? I'm a kid watching this.
Sandal fly, boot fly, shoe fly, that's it!
James, honey, if it took you that long to remember to say shoe fly, you probably shouldn't be trusted with the silence industry.
Now, I've come back to find a lost steam engine.
I wanted to take this time to explain my evil plan.
10, I guarantee you, if you never told him this, your job would have been a hell of a lot easier.
I'm gonna destroy her and dominate you!
That's a promise. And now we meet Patch and Mutt, who hang around Shining Time, I guess. Mutt is a dog, once again, really creative name, guys, and Patch's main character trait is horse. He rides horses. That's all we know about him.
Well, I'm glad you agree.
Wait, you can understand him? Is this an I am Groot sitch, or are you just pretending he's talking to you because you have no friends except for the horse?
Which means I don't think he's a bad man. I think he's just sad.
Yes, that's what depression is, Patch. Well done.
I didn't know that in Muffle Mountain there was a secret that Burnett had shared only with his childhood friend, Tasha.
Did Mr. Conductor really just Sappho and a friend at Burnett and his wife?
Hello, Shining Time Station Manager Stacy Jones speaking.
Hi, yes, I believe I left my will to live in the Lost and Found.
I found this child's drawing in an old locker in the Lost and Found.
It appears to be the script for Rise of Skywalker. So Patch breaks into Burnett's workshop where he delivers his entire backstory in a way that's easy to understand and entertaining for kids. Nah, I'm kidding, it's just exposition. Seriously, this is so boring. I never registered anything that was going on here as a kid. All I figured out was train, Saddleman, something about magic. You had a $90 million budget to work with. You couldn't give us one flashback that would have made this easy to understand for the 3-year-olds watching this. Also, this scene was meant to come way later in the movie. Little fun fact. Now, with Burnett and hell, all the scenes in Shining Time, it feels like we're watching another movie entirely. Like there's just a whole other tone separate from what we see on Solo, and it's just weird. We came here for childlike misadventures with talking trains, and we're getting Peter Fonda regretting his duty as a train's caretaker and not being able to keep a promise to his wife. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I do feel for the why of Burnett, but it just feels so out of place. But Mopey Fonda aside, we come to...
Pinchy, you've captured the real me. I mean, that's beautiful. I could cry.
Okay. Listen, I can suspend my disbelief for so long, but if you're trying to tell me Ted managed to single-handedly carve out his own Mount fucking Rushmore with that clumsy-ass appendage, then... I don't know, fuck you. Yeah, I didn't put anything in the script for this. I was just gonna... thinking like... I don't know. Now we're introduced to 2 new characters, Splatter and Dodge. Well, really just one, since they're carbon copies of each other, so you might as well give us the one character and call it a day. Look, even 10 agrees.
Spludge.
Never mind, that name sounds needlessly sexual, so I'm just gonna go with Splatter and Dodge. That also sounds bad! Again, you can literally just replace these 2 with the other established diesel duo of the series, Ari and Bird. Why introduce new characters that are essentially just a rip-off of others when you could use the originals in the first place? They're literally the same model of train as well.
I can do whatever I want. I'll get him too, with Pinchy. Ow, Pinchy! I hate it when you do that.
Is that Claw alive? Is it haunted?
Well, hello, Mr. Conductor.
Oh, hello, Billy.
You'd think more people would be freaked out if a tiny man just appeared in the cloud of glitter. I mean, Billy knows about him, yeah, but probably not half the people in that station.
Important day, Mr. C?
It is a very important day. I'm going to the island of Sodor. You know, it's the only place in my universe where I really fit in size-wise. Sir Topham Hatt has given me a big responsibility. Diesel 10 is back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Billy has no clue what you're talking about, Alec. Also, we've never met 10 before. Stop pushing this on us.
Stacy, where did you find this painting?
In an old locker. It was done by Burnett Stone when he was a child. You seem puzzled, Mr. Conductor.
Well, I am puzzled. This place looks like the island of Sodor.
How can you tell? It could just be any pair of buffers surrounded by shrubs. Not exactly a unique site, Alec.
Old Smokey, you stay right here until I get back.
I think Mr. C's been smoking too much of his gold dust. So Mud, because he's super dog apparently, senses danger and therefore doesn't want anyone to leave Shining Time. Yeah, nice try, Doggo, but if a lockdown didn't stop the entire bloody world, you ain't gonna stop Alec Baldwin and his teleporting glitter.
A big bully Diesel.
Oh, you could've just walked up there, now that's just wasteful. Now we meet Burnett's granddaughter, Lily, portrayed by Mara Wilson, aka Matilda, aka the kid from Mrs. Doubtfire, aka Ben Shapiro's infinitely smarter cousin, who lives in the big city. Yeah, that's the actual name. I think Brit should have fired the guy in charge of naming things. Which big city? There's loads of them. Anyway, Lily's mum, like any responsible parent, is sending Lily to live with her estranged grandfather for reasons unknown. And Lily is opposed to the idea, understandably, since Burnett's a big old misery guts.
Diesel knows that the lost engine in the legend really exists.
What engine? What legend?
Of an engine whose magic makes her more powerful than Diesel will ever be.
Ick. How come Henry knows about the lost engine, but literally no one else? Wouldn't it make more sense for Toby to know since he's the old wise one? Is it just to give Henry something to do in this movie? Moreover, how come 10 knows about it? He's just like a regular Diesel, right? What, he just ran into Lady getting a coffee or something and he chose violence? That his origin story? Or did Tony Stark screw him over too?
Little engines can do big things, especially when they have nice blue paint like me.
Careful, Thomas, that sounds very blue supremacist. This island is fucking haunted! If I saw that happen, I would both shit and piss myself and run as far away from the cursed thing as possible. What would have happened if Alec didn't put the hat back? What would they have done?
And how is Lady Hat?
Watch out.
Wait. Lady Hat is still a plastic figure in this universe? And come to think of it, the only live-action people we've seen from this movie come from Shining Time. Does this mean all the humans on Sodor are just static plastic figures, only allowed to move, allowed to speak when some godly false deems it necessary, and not just in place because Britt Orcraft was too lazy to hire real actors? Or is Lady Hat just the fat controller's sex doll and everyone just goes along with it for fear of being scrapped? Yeah, probably that one.
I will be responsible, reliable, and really useful.
Otherwise, your demon poster will consume my soul. So, looking at the cast of characters we have here, I've noticed this movie is very Edward-less. You know, the character Audrey first wrote about, the character that kicked this whole thing off in the first place, and yeah, loads of other characters established in the show up to this point are absent too, but Edward's one of the OGs, well, literally the OG, so I am very curious as to why they removed him from this movie. Oh god, so Top and Stalin didn't even bother to get in suitable living accommodations. You need any more proof about how horrible this guy is.
So who dropped the ball then? Oh, there you are. I'd like to have a nice cup of hot cocoa. Would you fellas care to join me? No? What would you rather do instead? Go outside and play? Well, I can understand that. What do you think? Why do you keep hitting him like that? You're gonna have to have a timeout.
Yeah, he's definitely high. Also, who threw the ball? Haunted! So anyway, 10 shows up and brings on some scaffolding, causing an earthquake somehow. Mr. C encounters performance issues and then drives 10 off by threatening him with diabetes. Also, just pointing out, Alec was absolutely ready to bail on everyone else just to save his own skin. What an inspiration to the kids. Oh, and 10, you have a beautiful, beautiful mug. Then, after convincing Percy that he is in desperate need of psychological help,
The family told me, as long as there is a railroad, there will be harmony. As long as there is gold dust, there will be energy. You will never have to worry.
Mr. C has a dream set in a strange universe wherein Shining Time was situated in Detroit.
What's going wrong with our railroad and why? My universe is in danger. I've got to find more gold dust.
Ah yes. Littering. That evil force that threatens the universe that's only held back by glitter you could probably find in Poundland at half price. Shit's getting real. Meanwhile, in the big city trademark, Matt has left Shining Time after it's established that it's a bad idea to leave Shining Time, where he finds Lily, remember she exists, unattended by either of her parents for some reason.
Attention passengers, the train for Muffle Mountain will depart from track 3, last stop Muffle Mountain.
I don't suppose you know where track 3 is, do you?
Lily, that is a dog. I'd be surprised if he remembers your face after this.
Is it that one? Well, why not?
Lily, don't you need a ticket? That's not your train. Your ticket is for track 3. Matt didn't consider this. Lily, you need a new ticket. Oh, never mind. If we've learned anything from this scene, it's that Lily can't count. And now we come to Mr. C doing menial labor because there's no other living beings on this desolate island.
Hey, Mr. C, why do you look so tired? Is it because I'm red? Diesel says red is a very tiring color.
Seriously? That's his best insult? I don't much care for red. It's totally out of season, and with those garish yellow stripes, it clashes with everyone else's blues and greens. Don't mix warm and cold colors, honey. And if you don't like my unsolicited fashion advice, you can stuff it down your bland, unoriginal, cylindrical funnel. Now P.S. Sam, that's an engine who knows how to stand out. Look at that funnel, now that's a man's funnel. Yeah, it's times like this where I question I'm actually funny. That killed my voice. Afterwards, Alec goes for a stroll in the forest until he realizes he doesn't know what the hell he's doing in this movie.
Now my gold dust really is all gone. And if I can't find the source for making more, I know how bad the consequences will be. I saw them in my dream last night. My family never really told me what to do in a gold dust crisis.
Nobody cares!
Seriously, what the fuck is this movie? The entire focus of it is on Alec Conductor and his supply of magic glitter, and it has hardly anything to do with Thomas and his friends. This is the Thomas the Tank Engine movie, right? That's what it says on the title. Were we clickbaited? Was this an early version of clickbaiting? This is where it started.
And if he finds her, I fear that will destroy us all.
You seem awfully chipper at that fact, Toby. Yeah, this scene doesn't really do anything. The only thing we've established from this is that Henry has a poor immune system, Gordon's still a cunt, and everyone is useless in this movie about them.
What's that? What's this?
Oh god damn it, this island is fucking cursed! Notes just don't appear like that, what the fuck is going on?
I notice you left your thinking cap behind. Try these instead, they're good for the brain. Gone fishing rabbit.
What rabbit? How can a rabbit already know? Why would a rabbit need to go fishing? They don't eat fish, Brit. What the fuck were you on while writing this? Hello, I am in the can now. Did you know that Diesel 10 was originally going to have a Russian accent? Yeah. The voice actor Neil Curran improvised it while recording some lines, and the producers apparently really liked it.
They started to roll a segment that had Diesel 10 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're rolling this thing along, I just started to do this, just improvise this goofy Russian voice.
Right.
Sort of sounded like this, you know, I'm going to Pinchy, why don't you come and, get these trucks for me?
It was eventually dropped because, surprise surprise, the test audiences didn't like it, claiming it was politically incorrect. Yeah, I can see that. I personally preferred the voice we ended up with, for whatever it's worth, but just like a little fun fact for you all, because I want to extend the runtime as long as I can, because I need validation. Now, if you excuse me, I have some business to attend to in here that you do not want to be around for. Bye!
Plane? Drain?
Was this part of the script, or did Alec finally crack on set and they just added it into the story? I'm gonna go with the last one. And here we meet Mr. C's cousin, C Jr., played by Michael Lee Rogers. Now, Jr., he's my favourite character in this movie. He's just a paragon of chaotic energy, and it's something I strongly relate to. Also the fact that he's the black sheep of the family and that nobody loves him. But in all seriousness, Mike's performance is probably the best in this film. I mean, obviously he knows what movie he's in, but he's still putting in the effort that, in all honesty, most of the other actors are kind of lacking. Michael really does stand out in this movie, and is one of the few things I've remembered from it. Seems wastefulness of apparently precious resources runs in the family. What?
That's my cell phone.
Yo, what?
Hello? Junior? Junior, is that you?
Dude, are you alright?
What do you think?
And I've used up most of my gold dust too. What?
Oh! I wonder how that happened! And Lily has now arrived in Shining Time and somehow wasn't charged with a penalty fare for not having the right ticket. Seriously, that's a glaring plot hole. You made 2 shows about trains, Britt. You kinda have to know this stuff.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Oops. Oh, I did that. Maybe it's in here. Oh, cake. Oh, that's not cake. Oh, how cute. 5 little glass figurines.
Okay. That did get a laugh out of me. Also, Lily is being kinda chill upon seeing that magic does indeed exist. I'd be freaking the fuck out at seeing a miniature Scottish man appear out of Tinkerbell's dandruff.
But what is this stuff?
I don't know, but when you snort it, you start to see faces on trains! Seriously, that would explain a lot. So Stacy, finally realizing there is a child left unattended in the otherwise empty train station, gives Lily a car ride to Burnett, where Lily settles in and experiences some precious bonding time with Burnett. All the test audiences didn't like that. Okay, just more of Burnett brooding then. Also, this guy, random biker guy Burnett is talking to, he was going to be the main villain. This character is P.T. Boomer, played by the late Doug Lennox. He knew Burnett as a kid and was jealous of his relationship with Tasha, which seems kinda irrelevant. After pressuring Burnett into letting him drive Lady, he crashed her, instead of 10 driving her off the rails, which is what happens in the rewrite. And in the events of this movie, he returned to Shining Time to destroy Lady because he's naughty. He is the reason for Mutt feeling uneasy and is responsible for a few loose ends this movie leaves. He wasn't in cahoots with 10, in fact they weren't meant to meet until the end of the movie, they just have similar motivations. He was removed shortly before the film's release because those silly test audiences deemed him too scary. Really? Old biker guy was too scary, but the giant hulking train with this face and a giant death claw probably capable of grinding a human spine in pieces is apparently okay. Okay. If I heard an eerie whistling outside, I wouldn't check outside. I would nail down all the blinds, barricade the doors, and remain confined to the beds, unable to sleep because I'm too scared to think about what kind of whistling banshee demon is coming to murder me in my sleep anyway back in Natford. So Thomas and Percy figure out the entire plot of the movie using minimal evidence while 10 is in earshot, so he runs off to, I don't know, monologue some more. Toby catches wind of this, somehow, and vows to stop 10 by ringing a bell very, very loudly. And that works. Whatever, it makes more sense than the rest of the plot so far. And now, because the movie needs to remind us that this is a Thomas the Tank Engine film, they give us a pointless montage of trains doing things that have no relevance to the rest of the plot. It's like a Scooby-Doo musical number. It only exists to act as padding to extend the runtime, time which could have been used to make this story make more sense. So because Henry's got a little bit of a tummy ache, Thomas goes to get Henry some hard drugs. That's basically what this special called is, like medicinal drugs. But because Thomas is an idiot and the laws of physics don't apply on Sodor, one of the trucks enters the railroad, much to Thomas's blatant ignorance. So after finally figuring it out, resolving that plot point in like 30 seconds, Thomas volunteers Percy as a canary against his own will to scout the buffers instead of checking them out himself, because that's what best friends are for. Meanwhile, 10 comes across Mr. C without giving us any clue as to how he found him. Mr. C miserably fails at walking, and Pinchy finally has a practical purpose. Oh, also, this is straight up a life-threatening situation. He could die here, you know, because this is a kids' movie.
That's what I saw in my dream. It's coming true. My universe is starting to crumble.
Or it could be the bridge is really old and has lost its structural integrity, but nah, multiverse falling apart is probably the rational explanation. So 10 interrogates Alec about the location of the buffers and gives him a 10-second count before he drops him, but then Alec pulls out the hedge trimmers, which he brought to his conducting job. Yeah, whatever. He cuts the pipe and is blowing out a set piece. Yeah, that's how hydraulics work. Laws of physics be damned! Yeah, no, he should be dead. You don't get thrown from that height, fly probably hundreds of miles by breaking science, and land on flower bags probably as soft as the cave floor I sleep on, and are just alright. God damn it, that's not some fake plot armor.
Did you put all this here for me?
What? No.
But you must have known that I was coming.
No, don't rope me into this, Alec. This is all Brett's doing.
How kind of you.
I had no part in this. I ain't taking the credit for saving your goddamn life. Yeah, this is what they meant when Mr. C said we'll help them later.
And by the way, I think that you're going to help me and Thomas somewhere in this story.
What a bloody build-up.
Oh, I'm at the windmill. Now that's what I call a perfect landing. This must be the clue to unlock the source of the gold dust.
Wait, so you're telling me the secret to interdimensional travel has been stuck to a windmill? That was probably built only like 10 years before this scene happened? I mean, that's like saying the secret to immortality is hidden in the freezer section at my local co-op. And after 10 does blackface, Lily meets Patch, Burnett continues sulking, and Lily meets Junior again, and she's still remarkably cool about the existence of a teeny Mikey Rogers and the fact that wallpaper can make this sound. She agrees to run off with a total stranger to some pocket dimension after he said he was just about to go visit some talking trains, despite said stranger admitting he doesn't even have a solid plan for returning. Kids are stupid. This bit's important though, remember this.
Can I take this little bit back for Grandpa?
Be my guest. I'll take care of it for you. Ready? Here goes.
On the way, Junior delivers exposition we've heard already, and they come across a cardboard cutter of a coal track before getting birthed out of a rainbow portal and breaking their tailbones. As you do. Lily and Junior run up the hill and find that all the characters are conveniently on the other side, barely like 100 meters from the thing they've been looking for this whole movie. Thomas finds Junior and Lily, who stand in front of a nearby green screen. Thomas abandons his coaches and probably the passengers inside them while he runs off to look for Mr. Conductor, which he does like 2 seconds later.
What's the matter?
Travel sickness.
I'm very home on trains.
Is your sparkle back, Mr. Conductor?
No, Thomas, it isn't. But I do know the clue. Stoke up the magic in the mountain.
To be fair, I forgot to. Maybe on purpose. So then, after bollocking from the fat in the hat, Junior grabs onto the windmill's blades, after which a freak hurricane happens, speeds up the blades, and throws Junior away at an impossible velocity. Plot armor strikes again!
What's gonna happen to Junior now?
Well, my family is usually pretty good at getting themselves out of trouble. eventually.
Yeah, that's some real familial love there. Your cousin and possibly only other surviving family member gets kidnapped by a homicidal train with a death claw? Nah, fam, he'll be fine. We gotta get me some more angel dust. I mean gold dust. Yeah, that one.
I don't know what eventually means, but it sounds very, very long.
Thomas, you're nearly 80 years old at this point. How the fuck do you not know what eventually means?
I am brave. I am brave. Thomas says I'm brave, so I'm brave.
Careful, Percy, you're basing that off the word of somebody who doesn't know what eventually means. I wouldn't take his judgment of you too seriously.
Shiver my pistons, they splatter and dodge.
Yeah, thankfully they're deaf, otherwise they would definitely hear you at this distance. Okay, doesn't necessarily prove this island is haunted.
Howdy, partner. Excuse me, coming through, pardon me. You know, Lily, perhaps your grandpa can guess where you are.
He can?
Maybe. Because I think he's been here himself long ago.
I only have a kid's picture of a random location as quote-unquote tangible proof, but hey, we're all making assumptions as to what the fuck's going on at this point. So yeah, they start putting the pieces together. Well, let's say that it's more just Alec remembering that vague as shit message he found on the side of a random windmill.
But how can Lily go without gold dust?
Only in the lost engine. Unless...
Yeah, not fun when you're the sacrifice, is it? As punishment for the countless lawsuits and millions in property damage he has caused over the years, thrusting the island into an economic depression from which it shall never recover, Thomas is forced to make a perilous and possibly suicidal journey for an unstable dimensional tunnel to return Lily to her grandfather. Okay, there's only like 20 minutes left, just bear with it.
I promise I'll get you home to your grandpa, Lily.
Follow me, partner!
Yeah, no, away abomination!
You're going through, Lily.
You're on your own from here on in, little blue buckaroo!
Little engines can do big things!
And so Thomas takes a magical adventure through horrible CGI where he comes across the lost truck of carbon-based drugs. Yeah, they figure out the coal is part of the clue somehow and take it with them. I'm saying that a lot, aren't I? Somehow. That's mostly because this movie does a piss-poor job at explaining itself. The original script, while it doesn't fix the movie overall, does at least try to explain some of the lore and circumstances surrounding the plot, but thanks to those gosh darn test audiences, they created a story that confuses kids, annoys us, and barely has anything to do with the characters named after in the first place. And so, having completed his task, Lily abandons Thomas to be forgotten in his solitude atop the mountain. Nah, sorry, there's still more of this to go. Okay, there's just a portal in the ground now. That's like the worst place for a dimensional opening ever, where someone was just taking a stroll across that field.
Grandpa!
Oh, Lily. I'm so glad to see you.
There's this island with talking trains, and they said you might have been there. But Mr. Conductor's very sick, and Junior's in danger, and I had to leave poor Thomas behind.
Okay, quick question. Who are any of those people? And then the movie remembers Junior exists and...
I'm sorry, Lily. I'm sorry because I haven't been whatever it is. Responsible, reliable, really useful. I will be! I will be! Here we go!
Junior, what are we gonna do?
We'll think of something!
That's it!
Holy fucking shit! Okay, that might be a bit over the top, but that was close to what 3-year-old me thought while watching this. I was terrified of this scene, no joke. And before you start writing in the comments, oh, Maniac's a big wah-wah crybaby that's scared of a kid's movie, just try and see it from a little kid's perspective. I mean, 10 is slowly closing the gap between him and James, pushing both him and Junior towards a fiery death at the bottom of that pit, all while 10's laughing like a sadist. And keep in mind that I was indeed a big wah-wah crybaby. Not anymore though. Now I'm a cry adult. Point is, this scene gave me anxiety, and I would skip it whenever I watched the movie. Why? I don't know, I was young and stupid. But it's alright. Remember this?
Can I take this little bit back for Grandpa?
Be my guest. I'll take care of it for you.
Junior uses that small handful of gold dust to escape. Yeah, I was oblivious to that as a kid, but the pieces were there. Also, they could have had Junior just blow the whistle and be done with it, but instead...
I'll find you some more, Lily. I promise. If I'm going to be any help at all, it's now or never. I've got to use up the rest of this stuff.
He acknowledges the importance of it to Lily and promises to replace it even though she can't hear him. It's a small thing and by God it doesn't fix the movie, but I enjoyed it. And also that tiny handful of glitter manages to take a whole ass train with it too. Okay.
Did Grandma love Lady as much as you do? Did she take a ride on her?
Grandma loved her because I loved her. But she never took a ride on Lady. I couldn't fix her in time.
Alright. I get it. I get it. It's weird to have scenes like this and such deep themes in a show about fucking talking trains. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel something at this scene, even if I wasn't paying attention as a kid. And the same can be said about Lady's restoration. I mean, the music is good and it captures how dramatic the scene is meant to be. I mean, Lady was originally supposed to be revealed not too long before this point, and that probably would have made it more rewarding, but I don't mind it, I'm okay with it. Yes, it feels like it belongs to another movie entirely, but I can't help but smile about it. It may just be nostalgia talking, but I'm sorry. I do like this scene. Also, I do appreciate that they took the effort to build a full-scale model of Lady for this movie. And Lady finally gets her face and voice portrayed by Britt Allcroft herself, no less.
So, Burnett, you didn't forget about magic. It's safe inside you.
So our protagonists finally reunite, except Thomas, who is still trapped in the railroad, but that doesn't matter, it's not like it's his movie. Also, Patch is really interested in that plastic wall.
Oh, are we glad to see you? Now we can go back to Shining Time.
Junior, we won't make it back to Shining Time without the gold dust. Without it, the magic can't exist.
Sorry, did they just insinuate that Mr. C and Junior would both die without gold dust? Jesus! Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I guess each of the actors carried the weight of that news well enough, but bloody hell! This is Thomas the bloody Tank Engine! We're talking apocalypses, the multiverse collapsing in on itself, and two main characters dying. The stakes don't need to be this high, even for this show's standards, that's dark. What is this movie? So Thomas returns, and of course, 10 is conveniently nearby because we're nearly at the end of the movie, so we need to wrap this up.
Splotch! Come and destroy!
No, you do it yourself.
We don't like you.
Yeah, we mean that.
Emphatically.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I have no idea.
It's a good word.
What a powerful character arc for the both of them. They didn't do shit for the entire movie, and they didn't do shit at the end. Why did I like these guys as a kid? So now we come to the climactic chase scene, and it's not horrible. It's fast-paced, the music portrays tense and urgently decently, and there's at least a little variety in location, and it doesn't drag on too long. Yeah, the build-up wasn't actually any good at all, but in the several years since I last watched this movie, this scene stuck with me, even if I could hardly remember the rest of the movie. But yeah, Thomas could have probably contributed more to this final battle in this movie. Also, if you look closely, you can see a miniature model of Boomer on the back of 10, since he was supposed to follow Thomas into the railroad, come out and land on 10, therefore participating in the chase. So they come to the viaduct, and as the lady and the tramp cross it, it finally starts breaking apart. How railway inspectors haven't picked up on this structural hazard is beyond me, but whatever. Thomas makes it through by the skin of his teeth, then 10 magically switches which side of the rails he's on, and falls to his doom, staves off death despite that slapping while Pinchy's reached, and then falls to his doom again. But he doesn't, and lands in a barge along with Boomer if he existed, and he's carried away, never to be seen again! Except when he's seen again! Oh, also, fun fact, in the original script, Junior uses his magic bandana, don't ask, they don't explain, to transform both 10 and Boomer into sludge on camera. Literally. They are melted down into waste, and that's their death in the movie. Now, if you think about it, that's kind of a horrific concept, isn't it? Well, now you don't need to think about it, because a Reddit user by the name of... You2Cool posted some concept art of the scene on the Thomas the Tank Engine subreddit. FYI, I don't know if they made the art, but they're the one that posted it. And so, here it is. Just kidding, I'm not showing it. Yeah, terrifying, right? Have fun sleeping tonight! I mean, what the actual fuck? That far surpasses typical Thomas darkness. I mean, of course, they weren't gonna show it in that much detail, but I have to agree with the test audience here, that's screwed up. They would have literally perished by way of Wicked Witch, and they would have just expected you to shrug it off. Hey guys, look, they made it across the bridge. Oh, okay. Oh god, we're going! Oh, fuck the bank! Jesus, please stop the bank! Look, Mr. Conductor got this gold dust back. They can go back to Shining Time, yay! Ah! Oh shit, we're dying! This is murder! This is actually murder! Why did Britt think this was a good idea? And so, Mr. C finally remembers the rest of the riddle just in time for the movie to end.
Then watch the swirls that spin so well.
Just like all the wonderful shavings around Lady when we were on the railroad. Is there anything else?
So well. A well means water.
Alec, your family sucks at making riddles. So the movie happens to end where a well is conveniently placed and they mix the shavings with the well water, which I'm guessing sparks a chemical reaction. Don't ask why I'm trying to explain this movie, and Alec and Junior get their goddess back. Okay, cool, can we leave now?
Lady, you're a really helpful engine.
And helping each other brings to life the magic in all of us.
Yeah, they definitely communicated that more well.
I'll take it. What's the way?
This is the way.
They had cell phones in 2000, right?
See you in shining time.
And we're at the conclusion. There's more shots of Shining Time being a regular town. Mr. Conductor doesn't be a conductor. Thomas runs off and dies for 2 years. They throw the locomotion in the credits in a final attempt to be funny, and then the movie finally ends.
I want my money back.
Well, the litter apocalypse didn't happen, but bloody hell if this wasn't a box office bomb. This movie is a shell of its former self. So much was abandoned. For example, Lily was going to be the movie's narrator, retelling the story to her children as an adult. Billy Two Feathers had tons more screen time, Tenth Plan made a hell of a lot more sense, and Boomer was allowed to exist. The only upside to this version is that the trains themselves were given more screen time. Yeah, in the original draft, Thomas's participation was stretched real bloody thin, and that's probably the main problem. Thomas doesn't have much to do in his own bloody movie. The trains are just there, they're just along for the ride. This is more the Shining Time movie rather than the Thomas the Tank Engine movie. And even then, they're throwing new stuff into the mix, like Lily and Burnett and how Boomer he made it to the final cut, which just ends up confusing the fans of both shows. I mean, I'm fine with introducing new characters, the show does that all the time, but the difference is we don't have to have new lore dumped on us to understand them. I mean, you had so much material to work with, both in the show and the original books. And even if they wanted to make something more original, there are better ways to do that. And I think the hit era kind of nails that point home. Take Calling All Engines and The Great Discovery. For all their flaws, they managed to create a story that introduces new stuff while not alienating their current fans. The stakes aren't embarrassingly high, it feels like they're in the same world as the show, and the plots are a hell of a lot easier to understand. And it's such a shame because this movie is brimming with effort. To give it a little bit of praise, some of the voice actors for the trains do a terrific job. With the show, you just have one guy narrating everything, so to tell the difference, the narrator has to explain who said what. With this movie, with all the varying and diverse voices, there isn't a need for that. And there's a hell of a lot of character oozing out of particular performances, like Neil Crone as 10, and both Crone and Kevin Frank as Sparrow and Dodge. I love those three examples in particular, although I do think they should have kept Michael Angelis as James.
My wheels were feeling worn out with work, so Sir Topham Hatt told me to think about all the ways I can be a really useful engine. And when I have, I can come out again.
And also the soundtrack by Humi Man, who I'm fairly sure is an alien in disguise, is pretty damn good as well. Even if the story left a lot to be desired, I did thoroughly enjoy the music. I wouldn't say it's outright amazing, but it is definitely catchy and distinctive. Maybe it's because I've been listening to it for the past few days making this video, which had absolutely no effect on me at all. But if I heard it play somewhere random, chances are I'd recognize it. But none of that saves the movie overall, not when you fucked up this much. In total, Thomas and the Magic Railroad is a harrowing first attempt of a Thomas movie. It has poor writing, poor structure, is utterly baffling to the audience it's targeting, and it's no surprise it was received poorly. So back to the original question. Is it as good as I remember it? Hell no. But despite that, I still kind of enjoy it. Yeah, newsflash, you're allowed to like bad things. Remember I shat on Rise of Skywalker earlier? I do genuinely like that movie, even if it is objectively bad. And it's the same for this. I mean, don't get me wrong, this movie is awful. But if it came on the TV, hypothetically, I'd probably sit down and watch it. If you enjoy something, even if it is really, really bad, you shouldn't feel guilty for it. You're not hurting anyone. Whether you're actually entertained by it or just watch it to poke fun of it, that's valid as hell. I'm not begrudging you for it. For example, my sister liked Sharknado for being Sharknado. Despite the lazy writing and the fact that I was lost to a lot of what was going on, I did love this movie as a kid. When I broke the VHS and watched it on because child me was an idiot, I was actually sad I couldn't watch it anymore, which means it kind of did its job for me. Granted, I was very easy to please, but so what? Yeah, I don't blame you if you thought this was a bad movie, either as an adult or as a kid, but personally, I'm still able to enjoy it, even if it is purely for nostalgia. So yeah, now that I shouted out a kids movie for absolutely no reason, my work's kind of done here. If you want me to tackle another movie or game or whatever, put something down below. If you think this was a bad idea and it should never be done again, that's cool too. I'm fine with disappearing for another year. Alright, bye! Roll the outtakes. Yeah, since my laptop is currently inoperable, I'm just going to like record everything on here and just hope it sounds good. It's an adaptation of a book series known simply as the Railway series, a collection of short stories written by Lord creator fuck. Oh, you accidentally I really should get this thing fixed. Well, it's not this, it's broken, it's the laptop. To do this so dancing creepy. That promise. That promise. That promise. I can't be sexy. Why can't I be sexy? That's like my best delivery. Is all you're gonna get. Oh, bloody hell, that's blue. If I saw that happen, I would have both pissed and shit. That could have worked, but I'm an idiot, so. So anyway, Tan shows up and brings down some scaffolding, causing an earthquake somehow, and Mr. C counts his So anyway, Ten shows up and brings down So anyway, Mr. C encounters performance issues, and then So anyway, Ten shows up and brings down some scaffold. Then, after convincing Percy that he is in desperate need of psychological help, Mr. C has a dream set. My brain no work. My brain no work. And then I exult. Thomas is forced to make a perilous and possibly suicidal journey for an unstable dimensional tunnel to return Lily to his dread. Oh god, I just misgendered Lily.